Hey, welcome to the DPP channel. Okay, today we are joined by Shang and Brian, who's going to just do a deck profile for this Beelzemon X, and of course the new Beelzemon ST. They actually recently won the FO Cup in Singapore itself. So he's just going to break down the deck list for us, and because just to share the joy of why this deck is actually so strong. So maybe you guys want to just do a self-introduction first.
Hi guys, I'm Shang. So maybe you remember me from the last Beelstar deck profile video. So I'm back this time with the other half of the Immon combo.
Hello, Brian, just a proper enthusiast. I'm really glad that Bezo is strong right now. So we are here to share our ideas on the winner deck list for the recent Evo Cup.
Okay, so maybe you can share with me why do you actually bring Beelzemon to the FO Cup? Because the FO Cup is I'll say a high stake tournament. It's basically a tournament where you can actually win a prize Omimon at the first place. So what made you guys feel that Beelzemon was a choice to play?
I guess maybe I'll say this part because I was the one who piloted the deck
Okay.
at the Evo Cup. I think it was just more the fact that the starter deck was just released like the previous week, and the deck felt very strong, and I thought that maybe a lot of people wouldn't have figured out how to play against it yet. And I think after experiencing the tournament and having played the deck for another week after the tournament, I think that the idea was correct. For that one weekend, people really weren't too sure how to play around the combos of the deck, but people are slowly catching up now.
Okay, understood. Okay, so maybe just congrats to you guys first to actually just winning the Omimon itself. So maybe we just start off with the deck profile with the Digitamas first.
Tama. Okay, firstly is ST Yamon. So I think it's a bit self-explanatory because if you have the trait of Wizard or Demon Lord, so what it does is when attacking you just Mewtwo. So it basically is like a last insurance for the ST Beelzemon to gain his security check, and also along the way your level 4s and 5 can help set up your trash for the 20 trash goal.
I think just to add on, sometimes it's very difficult to get your Digimon to be deleted when attacking. So I think the main other contender is the starter deck Pagumon, which is when deleted you mill 2. But now with things like Hunters, Red Hybrids, and Greymon decks running like 14 rookies and many Tamers, it's actually quite hard to get your own Digimon to die when attacking security to trigger the mill. So this one is like guaranteed 2 mill, you get the value off before your Digimon disappears.
Okay, can. So maybe let's move on to the rookies itself. It's definitely the Immons.
Yeah, so I guess we'll start with the new card also, the starter deck Immon. We play 4 of this. So it has 2 effects. The main effect is when attacking, if you have 20 or more cards in your trash, you can warp to a Beelzemon from your trash by evolving for a cost of 3. And yeah, so the whole point of this deck is just to get the 20 in trash to unlock this win condition. Along the way also, early game this card is quite strong. It has the evolution source skill of being able to destroy a level 3 whenever you mill a card on your own turn. So this helps you control the board and make sure that you don't get poked down by pesky little rookies that try to lower your security.
This one, since it bombs level 3, so another thing that you can bomb is memory blockers that will block your memory gain from ST Bezo. Yeah, aside from that, it's the copies, so maybe 3 to 4 is recommended with late.
Okay, can.
I think this is the fun part of the deck. The 4 starter deck, EXOs do Immons. So the main reason why this guy is here is to help you mill more cards, and we can go into further detail on how you do that. So basically when this card is milled from the top of your deck, except for its own effect, you can mill another 3. So all your milling effects get a +3 mills. So again trying to get to that 20 card in trash threshold as soon as you can.
On play, it also help you search your Ayamako and Bezo if needed, but mainly you save it for in the hand when you want to do some fancy combo later, we'll show you.
Yeah. The ESS of +3k is largely irrelevant. We try not to evolve this in the racing if possible.
Of course. Okay.
Finally, we get to play this card.
Okay.
The BT6 Immon with the very nice Beelstar in the background. When on play, you can discard a card from your hand to add back a 7 Great Demon Lord or a 3 Musketeer. Basically to get back your Beelzemons and your Beelzemon, which you'll see later.
And also Beezer X, because he also has the 7
yes.
Great Demon Lord trait, so it's a good piece to have. But most decks don't really use it, but we use it, but we'll show you why later.
Yeah.
Understand.
Another strong addition to the lineup is Immon X Antibody. Not so much. I guess the evolution and on play effect is pretty strong. You can discard an option card to take back any wizard or demon lord or small demon as well, which includes Immon himself, from the trash and add it back to your hand. So it's a way to set up your hand to set up for big combos. The evolution source skill is also very strong early game. It's basically unconditional on attacking mill 2, so just lets you attack freely without any hesitation. Yeah.
It's one of the few good alternative rookies to raise also if you're going for a level 4 raising play.
Understand,
if
because
there's no choice.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I played 3 for the Evo Cup, but I would definitely up to 4. It's a really, really good card.
It really depends on preference, so maybe 2 to 4 is recommended.
Yeah, 2 to 4. Yeah.
Okay. Can.
And then for the last rookie, I personally played 1 copy of the original BT2 Immon. With how this deck operates, I thought it might be helpful sometimes to call back an additional miller, but I used it a grand total of 0 times, so don't play it.
So I mean, definitely it's a very nice AA. Okay. So let's move on to the level 4s.
Okay, level 4. So this is like a wizard themed deck, so obviously you have to have your promo wizard one. This card, when milled, gains 1 memory, very broken. The evolution source skill is also very useful. You can, when you're attacking, you can put a purple card back to the top of your deck, which basically allows you to then trigger any of the on attacking mill effects to then mill the card that you want straight away.
It's a self-explanatory core piece, so must be 4.
Okay.
The
Or
mill,
wizard run less.
yeah, the mill effect and the ESS are both very strong.
And it's a level 4 as well.
And it's a wizard. Yeah. Then another new addition is the Wizard X from BT12. So, yeah, this card, if evolving normally from a level 3, it will just mill 2 cards. But if it evolves from a wizard, it will gain blocker instead. So I think I've been trying to be a bit clear on that. It gains blocker instead, so it doesn't get to mill 2 cards if you evolve on the wizard. Then the ESS, same thing, on attacking it mills 2, also very, very strong. So you can see very quickly, like, with a line with the Yamon, Immon X, and Wizard X, you can mill 6 cards in 1 attack, which is quite insane.
Yeah, so this inherit actually helps the SD Bezo to secure its check. So you have like 3 different ways to guarantee your mill, so that you won't miss out on the missing check and the memory. And just the check. The check's more important.
Yeah. For the last 2 level 4s, I was playing 2 Dobermon. Dobermon is interesting because it can help you link your combos better, because when it's deleted, you can take back any purple Digimon or Tamer, which includes the purple Tamers that you will see later. But two struggles I found when piloting this with this level 4. One, which I mentioned earlier, it's hard to get the level 4 to die, actually, because of the current metagame. The other thing is that this is a bit of lack of synergy with the egg, with the Digitama. But it's something you kind of have to live with if you want that flexibility of being able to take back anything from your trash to continue your turn. Yeah, but it's very awkward when it doesn't die and then you cannot continue your turn anyway.
Understand.
The best thing you can do is have this Impact inherit. Or if it doesn't die, then you just pray that your opponent doesn't kill you, then you can link to your level 5, which is also another way.
So your opponent will have the, duality of choices, whether to kill it and give you additional meals, or whether just leave it on the board and then you have potential to go up to a level 5 or level 6 after.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's great. Okay, so now I think that's wrapped up for level 4. So we're going to move on to the level 5s.
Level 5, there's 4 of the new starter deck, Balmon. This card is supremely broken. It mills 3 on evolution and it gives a blanket on the entire Digimon line that if deleted, until the end of the opponent's turn, if it's deleted and you have 10 cards in trash, you can play a Beelzemon from your trash at 0 cost. So I think previously with the old Balmon, the tricky part was that if you got devolved or anything, you lost the ability to play your Beelzemon. But with this Balmon, your whole entire line gains the buff, so it's a much needed help to the deck.
So this is a bit self-explanatory, but it can be run as 3 or 4, and also has the same duality concept as the Beelzemon. So if your opponent kills it, then it will spawn a Beelzemon from trash. If it doesn't kill, then you yourself have a newly fresh Digivolve Beelzemon ready to go.
Understand. Okay, so let's move on to the next level 5.
Yeah, there's 2 Beelzemon X. So this guy, when evolved normally, mills 3, and then gets to take back an X antibody from trash. When evolved over Beelzemon or X Evo with the option, you get to pop a level 4. So very flexible card. You can use it in either way, either to control the board a bit or to accelerate your mills if your opponent is giving you that time.
Okay, for this card, we usually use it because we are playing the X antibody package. So if everyone remembers BT9, the X antibody option is actually quite strong in like when to secure your level 6 attacking. It's like a blitz effect. So we kind of like reliving the memories of BT9. Another thing to take note that this Bao X, right, along with the ST, there's some interesting upgrades, or maybe some if you notice there's 2 when digivolving effects. So basically one of them is you retrieve X antibody option, and the other one is the Mew tree or bomb the Balmon. But important thing is the Mew tree. So let's say if your trash doesn't has any X antibody, even with the first Mew tree, but if you can still Mew some more with EX2 Imon, so you can actually time this to go first because it is the latest effect. Then once you have you Mew another tree and you found your ball, then you can use the retrieve back option because it's the last to resolve.
Yeah, the key thing is that it's on 2 separate lines of text. It's not within the same effect, so you don't need to finish resolving the other one first. Yeah. So again, very flexible card.
So this one's more of a preference. So some people don't run it, some people run it. Usually if they run it, there should be a X antibody line.
Understand.
The option. Yeah.
Understand. Okay, so now we move on to the most handsome part of the deck. Definitely is the Beelzemon themselves.
Too bad it's not purple enough.
Yeah, so haven't upgraded to the low rarity one yet. We see whether we want to do that. But it's already a very nice card. On Evo Mill 4 is absolutely disgusting, just by itself. And then the second effect, which is on both players' turn, when you finish milling everything, for every 10 in your trash you gain 1 memory. So often you're evolving this card for 2 or even 1 cost. When you evolve it via the starter deck Imon, you pay 3, and then if you have 20 in your trash, you gain back 2 memories, so it's effectively 1 cost Evo. The security check +1 is nice, but I think the other 2 effects are really what make this card shine.
I think the security check was kind of important because back then our security attack modifiers came from the level 7 blast mode, which was actually very tricky to go into. So it was what the deck needed actually, the extra check. Because you see why suddenly he can create very funny comeback scenarios. Another thing to take note that same as Bao X, it has these 2 different timing where you will mill first, then you can gain the memory later. But you can choose to resolve any mill effect first before you gain the memory. So it's same as Bao X. So this is something, an extra perk to what they did with the starter deck onwards.
Yeah, so some like basic combo reach counts that I often do. So even if I have let's say I have 23 cards in my trash, I know that I can definitely hit, and I'm able to stack a starter deck EX2 Imon on the top of my deck. I know that 23 means that I'll guarantee to have 30 at the end of the resolution of Beelzemon, because 23 plus 7 is 23 plus 4 plus 3 is 30, right? So it's just some simple counts that you can do to really optimize the amount of memory gain that you experience with this deck. Yeah.
Okay, so I believe you do play the partner of Beelzemon. Basically, I'll say a very spicy tech, which is the Beelstar.
I think I'll let you start with this one because this was your idea.
No, you just.
Okay, sure. Yeah, so I think this is quite interesting. I think not many people are playing this right now. So this the new Beelstar one from the starter deck. So her main effect is that for every 10 cards in your trash, you can reduce her play cost by 4. So it's either hitting like a 5 cost at 20 cards or a 1 cost at 30 cards. And then when your opponent attacks, you are able to mill a card from the top of your deck every time they attack. It's not once per turn. And then once per turn on either player's turn, when a card is milled from your deck, you can call an Immon from your trash and it gains Rush. And this is a very huge part of how the deck reaches higher levels of damage in the late game.
For this one, between this and EX2, sure they both spawn an Immon, but this one gives the haste. And also this card can actually combo with the Beelzemon. So if let's say you have both out on the field, then if let's say the opponent attacks, then Beelzemon can actually gain the memory because it's both turns. So it's like a defensive play, one of the defensive play that it offers to the deck. And also, since you can choose when to play the Immon, but it must be after a mill. So because the opponent's effect, the both turn effect is actually optional. Something to think of. And if it's, you can also create a Immon for a reverse litter if the opponent doesn't kill you.
Yeah, so I think one simple combo is that if you mill something and then you have 20 cards in your trash, you can instantly call back the starter deck Immon, which can attack, and then on attacking it goes right into the new starter deck Beelzemon. So you can see how the damage can rack up very, very quickly if the Beelzemon goes unchecked in the late game.
I understand. Okay, so next will be I'll say the most handsome introduction for Beelzemon, which is the Beelzemon X.
Yeah, this card is it's very, very strong. On Evo, you can, for every 10 in your trash, you can trash one of your opponent's security. I think avoiding security triggers is always very broken, and with how this deck is set up to mill 20 cards as soon as possible, you are basically trashing 2 to 3 cards every time you go into this. It's also quite a sticky body, so when it's deleted, it's able to call an Immon in name, so you can even call back Immon X, which can help you set up your next line or your next round of combo.
I think this one's a bit self-explanatory since trashing security effect is very strong. I think it's one of the strongest effects. And since the deck can set up the trash very fast, so you won't be surprised that you'll be trashing 2 or 3 when it comes down.
Yeah, and but then you might wonder why we only play 2, I guess. But this card is basically like a game ender, so you don't want too many of them to start off with anyway. Yeah.
And there's also a card newly introduced in the ST that actually adds some sort of consistency to the deck, whereby you can actually just play a few copies of, but if they are in the trash, it's actually retrievable. Okay. So
Yeah, and like we mentioned before, the BT6 Immon can take it back as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So next we do run the blast mode at only 1 copy. Okay, maybe you can just do a more detailed explanation why 1 copy and what does it do actually.
This thing just functions as your Omnimon Blitz BT5. It evolves for 4 costs, but if you have 20 or more cards in your trash, you get to gain 3 memory, so it's effectively a 1 cost evolution. And sometimes your security check counts are a bit awkward, and your opponent is left with 0 security, and you need to end them that turn. So that's where this card comes in. It's just for that one purpose basically. It does have a nice on-mill effect, which is to bomb a level 3, and for every 10 cards in your trash you get to increase that level cap by 1. So that's something that can happen as well. But other than that, it's mainly used to just end the game.
It's a Beelzemon's hybrid.
Beelzemon's hybrid. Okay, it just gives you the additional 1 attack. Okay, so but why just 1 copy if it's such a good card in your guys' opinion?
Same thing, right? It can be taken back at any point in time with Immon X, with Warring Shots, which we will go through later. You just need access to one of it to finish the game. And if you don't see it, it's fine as well. I think it's okay to play 2 if you really want to. I've tried playing 2 as well, it's fine. But no more than that.
Okay.
Usually in a typical game, the Beelzemon X would have end the game. The blast mode is usually the last insurance.
Yeah, I think maybe one thing to note, because we play the X antibody package, you can attack and go into the Beelzemon X, which will trash the opponent's security before you attack for game. So therefore there's less importance on the blast mode. But if you don't play the X antibody package, then I can see why you would want to run more of the blast mode.
It's like playing Wargrave X back in the day.
Yes.
Okay, so I think that wraps up the Digimon counts of the deck, okay, which is quite a lot. Then we'll be touching on the tamers as well as the options.
Yeah. introducing the most broken card of the deck. I am Mako from the new starter deck. It's a searcher. Opens the top 4, takes any small demon, wizard, or a demon lord, which is basically everything except for Dobermon. Yeah. And then when you evolve into a purple Digimon, you can rest this tamer to stack any card to the top of your deck and then gain 1 memory. So this basically allows you to control your future and plan out your mills to optimize how you want to fill your trash.
Yeah, so basically what you can do with the tamer is we can, how to achieve the 20 trash is usually through this Digivolving to Balmon and the EX2 Emon. So you get like 6 mils off of this, or 7 mils if it's the Beelzemon. So this is how we get our 20 trash effectively. And of course the memory gain is always nice since it cannot be blocked by memory blockers, and means it's a cheaper evolution cost for all your level 4, 5 and 6. The only sad thing is that we cannot play the tamer for free.
Yet.
Usually, but unusual, we can do it unusual ways, but you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and just helps you unbreak as well. I could definitely see myself like playing 4 of these if I can find space for it. Like, it's just so good. It helps you find pieces, it sets up your mills. It's
Okay,
really
but
strong.
I do have one question. So, with the new I Am Mako, is there any reason to play the old I Am Mako at all?
One reason is, let's say if your Balmon dies and there's a naked SD Beelzemon. So since it cannot like mill by itself, so that's one reason to play the EX2 I Am Mako. And another way is to maybe enable build style you're playing, since even by herself with no inherits she cannot mill. So using EX2 I Am Mako, you can use it to spawn your Emons from trash replace.
Yeah, and I guess resetting to 3 is always nice for this deck as well. But it's just a question of deck space now.
Okay,
Yeah.
but was there any situation whereby, because this statement doesn't give you any guaranteed 3 memory, so when opponent does memory choke you, do you face any problems with that?
When I don't have a raising area, that's the main problem I encounter, because I have no way to evolve to gain memory to make more plays, right? But if I have something in a rookie in my raising area, or like a level 4, just one I Am Mako is enough to do a lot of things. Because let's say if you need to go into Balmon and then go into Beelzemon without passing turn, you can very easily raise your level 4 out, evolve this for 3 costs, type your I Am Mako, gain 1 memory, stack either Wizardmon or Deathslinger to gain another memory to effectively get a 1 cost evolution. So there's a lot of plays that this deck can do even at 1 memory.
Understand. Okay, so it's basically a very strong tamer. Okay, so let's move on to the options.
Since we just mentioned it, we can talk about Deathslinger, sorry. Yeah, very flexible card again. On mill gains 1 memory, and you can bomb a targeted level 4. For every time you're trash, you get to raise the level cap by 1. This is basically your way to, when you need to control the board and you're digging for your combo pieces, it's nice to just clean up your opponent's board and wait for the next turn before you commit your combo.
Yeah, it's an overall flexible card everywhere in the security, even in your hand and even from the deck. So would want to play 4, but since the deck suffers from the space for like having flexible options, so it's a good contender for more pieces. But it's up to preference.
Understand.
I think we also mentioned about the option card, the new nice alternate art for X antibody.
Okay, it's
Yeah.
the one introduced in ST, so they definitely have the idea to put it into the Beelzemon deck. So maybe you can just share with me more, how does this X antibody option helps the deck?
I basically use it in 2 ways. I think one we previously mentioned is if you can use your level 5, you can slot in the X antibody option and you can immediately swing with the level 5 and go into Beelzemon X. And Beelzemon X's effect still triggers because it has the X antibody option. And the trashing of security will always happen before the attack resolves. So if your opponent has 2 security left and you have 20 cards in trash, you basically have lethal. Yeah.
So basically it's just another way for us to access to lethal, and of course also the memories of BT9.
And like the security effect is still very strong. Gaining the 1 memory can really mess up your opponent's game plan. So it's not something you complain about having. Yeah.
Understand. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the last options. It's the warring shots.
Which very nicely fits the theme of the playmat.
Okay.
Yeah, like
Yes,
this.
yeah. Wrong way around. I didn't have the foresight when I designed the playmat to flip the playmat. This card is this card is insane. Yeah, so when it's milled, you can place it on your battle area. You can choose not to. For some situations that you might find that you don't want it to be on your battle area. The main effect, you just bomb the highest DP, highest level Digimon, which is always strong, especially when it triggers from the security. But the delay effect is what like binds this deck together. Your delay effect is that you can trash this card from your battle area, and you can take any Digimon, purple Digimon or Tamer, which is everything you've seen here. So it basically allows you to, again, rearrange your hand similar to Dobermon to be able to set up for a big combo turn.
This is the designer knew that the Inmon deck suffers from getting back the pieces, so I think this is a bit explanatory to take back your missing pieces, key pieces, be it raising or maybe your finisher.
Or like if you mill too many copies of your Tamer, you can just bring it back to hand with warring shots as well. Yeah, one thing that I personally like to do a lot is to use the warring shot to take back EX2 Inmon so that I can stack it again to mill it again. So even with one copy of EX2 Inmon, I can use it multiple times to get multiple +3s on my mills, and that's what really helps to accelerate the deck to that 20 trash win condition.
Understand. Okay, so that wraps up the deck list. So we're gonna move on to the Q&A. Okay, the Q&A portion of this video. So thank you Shang and Brian for actually taking some time to actually explain in detail for this deck profile. So now I'm gonna ask you guys a few questions. Okay, so the first question would be, what do you think were like the worst matchups for this deck alone?
I think a well-played War Greymon is very difficult to deal with. The deck is just so fast and so memory efficient, and they have pretty strong protection mechanics as well, so that you can't even like try to high roll them with security options. Yeah, I think in the first week people are still trying to figure out how to play against Beelzemon using that deck. So as time goes on, I expect that matchup to become even more and more difficult. They can even start attacking cards like Yuya, Kuga Yuya, which basically immunes them to any of the option cards at all. And actually, just a side note, the presence of War Greymon is actually what convinced me personally to move to Beelstarmon instead of playing EX2 Beelzemon, because EX2 Beelzemon, although the playing Inmon effect is optional, most of the time you still want to get some value out of it. But milling the EX2 Beelzemon, you always have to ask yourself whether you actually want to play the Inmon, because the active Inmon gives your opponent a target to raid and gain even more value off of their Metal Greymon line. So that deck is really one of the strongest decks, if not the strongest deck in the meta right now. And I guess it's a bad matchup for everyone, but not just this deck.
Okay.
I think for the other bad, I won't say they are bad matchups because they are actually tournament contenders. So the only headache for Beezer is trying to get past their offense and defense. So the only way for Beezer is to beat them by speed. So getting to the 20 trash goal is really important. Usually bad matchups are those not really tournament contender decks, but they can cause major problems like Mugendra and Examon. So these two are like the most top two bad matchups, but they are not really like tournament contenders. Tournament winning, but they are still a strong tournament contender deck.
Understand. Okay, so moving on to my next question is, what are your thoughts about the current, EX04 meta? Not so much of EX04, but the BT12, because EX04 was only just released like a week ago. Okay, so what do you feel about this current meta?
I think it was fun for the first few weeks when all the new decks were still unoptimized. I think right now it's kind of regressed into a Greymon TCG format. This is not including EX4, of course. I think EX4 has some new toys that we shall see. I haven't really had time to explore. But the Greymon deck is really just too efficient at this point in time.
I think for EX4, the deck to watch out for is, for now, will be Blue Flare, because they have access to an extra safer aggressive option, which is the new jamming for new Beelzemon, and one more tamer for them to pull out. Right now, as the history of EX sets hasn't been really convincing to the point where they'd be meta relevant. So, but it's too early to say because it was recently released since last Friday.
Okay.
Anyway, if it's Blue Flare, all I'm hearing is that it's still Greymon TCG because Blue Flare also has Greymon.
Understand. Okay, so last question I have for you guys is, if you have power to edit one thing on the ban list, what do you think you guys will do?
Personally, I would knee-jerk reaction. I would limit the BT11 Greymon X to 1. That card is ridiculous because it's not only a tempo card because it reduces the cost of your Metal Grey Evolution, also defensive because it gives the entire line protection with just an X antibody option. So it's way too good of a card for what it is, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. But since I think a lot of people knows that it's gonna go someday, like so far the history of ban list, they always hit those support of the spine support of the every deck. Like for Alphamon, they hit the Dual Grey, which I don't think it was necessary. Maybe I believe because of power creep reasons. But another exemplary example is Yellow Hybrid Jet Sylphie. That is the main core card they have finally decided to let go in ban list. So I think Grey X is self-explanatory also. But it's a matter of time.
Okay, so you also choose Greymon X for yourself?
For now.
For now. Okay, so thank you guys, thank you both actually, for taking the time again to actually just go through the whole entire deck profile and just giving very detailed explanation for the whole deck. So thank you guys for watching till the end, and do consider subscribing, dropping a like and a comment if you guys do enjoy the content.
Thank you.
Thank you.